Good evening, everybody. We have a big group for a good reason, which we'll get to in just a minute. But for now, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Shapiro.
Here.
Trustee Benton.
Here.
Trustee Berg.
Here.
Trustee Goldstone.
Here.
Trustee Greenberg.
Here.
Trustee Jacoby.
Here.
And Trustee Oppenheim.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Jerry. If we could all rise, I would ask the Rochelle Zell Jewish High School Model UNT to please lead us in the pledge. Come on, guys. Rock it.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Model UN team is here again. We love when you come back. Don't think that you anytime overstay your welcome, because every year we see you is because you guys have won another championship, and we're so proud of you. So I want to just say a couple words, and then maybe any of your representatives or coaches will tell us about your team this year and your accomplishments. On behalf of the Village of Deerfield, I would like to again extend our congratulations to the Rochelle Zell Jewish High School Model UN team on an extraordinary achievement, that being awarded the National High School Model UN Conference Top Team Award for the 11th? Yep. 11th? It's so many I lose count. Consecutive year. We also congratulate you for earning the Team Award of Distinction in Debate and Simulation, the highest honor at the conference, along with the Team Award of Distinction in Research and Preparation. Your accomplishments on the national stage demonstrate your intellect, your drive, and your excellence. You are a true source of pride and inspiration to our community. We congratulate you on your outstanding success. Are there a couple of you or coaches or staff or whatever who would like to come forward and talk to us a little bit about what you have done this year? Please.
All right, my name is Daniel.
And I'm Nitai.
And we were the co-presidents. We were so lucky to be the co-presidents this year. We had 28 amazing team members. Unfortunately, not everyone could be here. Some of them are currently presenting at a physics expo, and we wish them a lot of luck. And we really had a lot of fun and learned a lot this year.
Yeah, each team member contributes to that team award that you hear. So within each committee, each partnership really has to excel at both speaking publicly and working well within a group, and really using those diplomatic skills that we've taught throughout the entire year. All right.
Yeah, and we appreciate you for extending the welcome again, and we look forward to seeing the new sign.
Well,
Nice.
I drive by it every day on my way to school, and
it sounds like
always brings a
you're
smile
getting
to my
comfortable with
face.
this.
Awesome.
I would like maybe each of you to please just stand up, introduce yourself, maybe what you did in the year of school that you're in. So maybe we can, however you want to start. Yes, please.
I'm Tom Nakamowski, and I was partners with Noah Folick. She sadly can't be here today. And my focus was on sustainable construction practices. I'm also a sophomore.
I'm Logan Blitz. I'm a senior. My partner Ronan Owsley unfortunately couldn't make it. And this year Ronan and I discussed sustainable development goals.
Oh, awesome.
I'm Drew Rosenberg. I'm a freshman, and my partner was Shira, and we were on the committee of the International Organization for Migration, and we focused on integrating migrants into the workforce.
I'm Kogan Studnitzer, and I'm a sophomore, and I was partners with Addison, and I was on the Special Political Decolonization Organization, which we discussed protecting journalists in conflict zones.
Protecting journalists in what?
Conflict zones.
Conflict zones.
I'm Shira Desser. I'm a sophomore, and I was with Drew, and we focus on integrating migrants into the workforce.
I'm Addison Dickman. I'm a junior. My partner was Kogan. I was on the Special Political Decolonization Committee, SPECPOL, and my topic was safeguarding peacekeepers in conflict zones.
Ooh. Awesome.
My name's Leah Gorlin. I'm a freshman in high school, and I was on the Commission on the Status of Women with my partner, Ella Cohen, and we focused on female education and literacy in the digital world.
I am Nitai Gorlin. I am a senior at Rochelle Zell, and I was on the United Nations Historic Security Council in 1991. So it's like traveling back in time. I worked on the Gulf War. Did not end up how it did in real life. A lot worse. Second Iran-Iraq war ended up breaking out.
Oh.
I think I learned that teenagers should not be leading their experience, but I learned a thing or two there.
Awesome.
My name is Daniel Weiskopf. I am a senior at Rochelle Zell, and my partner, Eden Deutsch, unfortunately could not make it today. And we were on the Food and Agriculture Organization, and our topic was rehabilitating agricultural lands in conflict zones and restoring food supply chains.
I'm Emma Dubner. I'm a freshman. My partner was Daisy Frank, who sadly couldn't be here tonight, and we were on the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, where we focus on fostering climate resilience in small island developing states.
I'm Noah Yaskowitz. I'm a sophomore at Rochelle Zell, and my partner Yoav unfortunately couldn't be here today, but we were on the Disarmament and International Security Committee working to solve terrorism in the Middle East and North Africa.
Wow, okay.
I'm Miller Schwab. My partner was Asher, and I was on the United Nations Convention Against Corruption Committee, and we talked about press freedom and corruption.
Hi, my name is Simone Merchant, and I'm a junior. I was on the crisis for the Amazon rainforest, where we tackled the various implications that the destruction of the Amazon rainforest has on the various groups in Brazil, and also the environmental repercussions.
Hi, my name is Abitai Cohen. I'm also a junior at Rochelle Zell. I represented Hungary's interest on Crisis NATO, tackling the Russo-Ukrainian war.
Wow. Hi, my name is Jordan Yaskowitz. I'm a senior at Rochelle Zell, and I was on historical crisis, part of the Iranian cabinet of 1952, and we focused on many issues that were happening then. It did not turn out how it did in reality, and the British took over again.
Wow.
My name is Ari Schwab. I'm a senior. I had the privilege to represent the French Republic alongside with my partner Talia on the United Nations Security Council, where I researched the situation in Afghanistan, and that is what we ended up discussing in committee.
Hi, my name is Talia Resnick. I'm a junior, Ari's partner, at working on United Nations Security Council. My topic specifically was the situation in Nagorno-Karabakh.
Wow.
Hi, I'm Ella Cohen. I'm a sophomore. I was on the Commission on the Status of Women with Leon, and we also researched women in sports.
Hi, I'm Jonah Frank. My partner and I worked on the United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime, where we worked to address the influence of the Taliban on the global narcotics trade.
I'm Shafar Cohen. I'm a senior. I was on the Committee on Crisis African Union, where I represented the Nigerian Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Mr. Adek Boyega Oyetola, and we addressed the crisis of piracy in the Gulf of Guinea.
Wow.
Coaches, staff, you guys want to introduce yourself too?
Hi, my name is Stu Jacobs. I'm a faculty advisor for these amazing students, and what I can tell you is that from day one, which was back in August, this group really worked day in and day out, researching their topics, writing very in-depth research papers to prepare for the conference, worked on skills of public speaking and collaboration, and made us all proud with the way they conducted themselves at the conference, both with their intellect and also with their hearts in terms of opening up to their fellow committee members and working together to find compromise.
we learning about what you guys spoke about, advocated. It's so impressive.
Right.
Our future is in good hands with all of you. Our future is in great hands with all of you. And again, we thank you for all your accomplishments and congratulate you. We're inspired by you, and we wish you good luck, and we'll see you here next year.
You guys are great.
The sign?
Got a sign for them?
The sign?
Uh-oh. That's all right. We'll get one. We got one.
So just bear with us.
Hang on.
Just cross out the date.
I'm going to just jump around so we don't have a lot of downtime. Bear with us. We will have a sign, but I'm going to just go to some other things real quick, okay? Minutes of our previous meeting, May 5th, 2025.
Move approval.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Bills and payroll.
Proclamation.
I know, we'll get there. Yeah. Bills and payroll.
Move approval.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Benton?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Goldstone?
Yes.
Trustee Greenberg?
Yes.
Trustee Jacoby?
Yes.
And Trustee Oppenheim?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Now let's do our
Yes.
picture.
Rock the sign. Rock the sign.
All right. Get around here, we'll pictures. Where do you want to start? So everyone just kind of
Both sides of the mayor.
around the side, and we'll try to squeeze in all.
Right. Yeah. My hair.
You guys just want to back up just a little bit more.
Yeah, they're great kids.
All right, everyone squeeze in just a little bit
I
more.
wish they were in charge.
Yeah. I wish we weren't and they were.
All right. Nope, we're all good. Perfect. All right, everyone looks at me. 1, 2, 3. A couple of these. Perfect.
Woo!
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Go make the world a better place, please.
Do we have to put it up ourselves, or you guys?
Yes. Yes.
It's awesome. That's awesome. That's just freaking awesome.
It's really cute. I think he's legit not sure what he's supposed to do.
You guys take that. We will put up a sign in the village. That's yours to keep.
Just make the world a better place. Make the world a better place. I think they will. I think they will. And they feel good about that.
All right. What are we doing?
All right, I now would like to move to part of our agenda where we have a proclamation for Public Works Week. Whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th annual Public Works Week, and whereas public works infrastructure, facilities, and services are of vital importance to sustainable communities and to the health, safety, and well-being of the people of Deerfield. And whereas such facilities and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees from local units of government who are responsible for and must plan, design, build, operate, and maintain the transportation, water supply, water treatment, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential to serve our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for citizens, civic leaders, and children to learn and understand the importance of public works and public works programs in their community. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Daniel C. Shapiro, on behalf of the Village of Deerfield, to proclaim the week of May 18th to 24th as National Public Works Week in the Village of Deerfield. Proclaim this 19th day of May 2025. Is there a motion to approve the proclamation?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bob.
And Bob, thanks to all of your team and all the members, 30 plus members that serve this community every day. Thank you.
We are very proud to support this village. We're here every day turning the wrenches and plowing the streets and keeping things working for you and for all the village residents and everybody who works and lives here in the village. And we're very proud to do that. And I want to thank you all very much for Public Works Week and for those of you who attended the Public Works event over the weekend on Saturday. It's kind of a good kickoff to it. If you haven't ever attended that event, I encourage you to do so next year because we'll be doing it all over again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. It's nice of you to say that, but the gratitude really runs from us to all of you.
Right.
Because you are the people day in and day out who keep us safe and secure, not from a police perspective, but from public works, transportation, its infrastructure perspective. And you guys do a great job. And we're so thankful and grateful for everything that you do.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Bob.
Now's the time where we offer the public an opportunity to make a comment on a matter that's not on the agenda. Is there anyone here who would like to talk about something that's not on the agenda? All right, moving on to reports. 2537, consideration and action on the Plan Commission report and recommendation on the request for approval of a final plat of re-subdivision for the properties located at 145 Park Lane and 140 Birchwood.
At its workshop meeting on May 8th, 2025, the Plan Commission considered the request for the final plat of subdivision approval for 145 Park Lane and 140 Birchwood Avenue. Following its consideration, the Plan Commission voted 4-0 to recommend approval of the final plat.
Are there any comments or questions from our board?
Makes
Public.
total sense.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation and to direct the village attorney to prepare an ordinance?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Goldstone?
Yes.
Trustee Greenberg?
Aye.
Trustee Jacoby?
Yes.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Yes.
Trustee Benton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
There are two matters on our consent agenda, item 2531-1 and 2532-1. I'll read those and then ask if we have a motion on the consent agenda items. Ordinance 2531-1, ordinance granting a variation from section 4.03F of the Deerfield zoning ordinance as amended for 513 Radcliffe Circle, and 2532-1, an ordinance authorizing a Class A special use for an artist studio at 816 Waukegan Road for Clay and Company. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Goldstone?
Yes.
Trustee Greenberg?
Yes.
Trustee Jacoby?
Yes.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Yes.
Trustee Benton?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Under old business, item 2530-2, an ordinance amending Chapter 22 of the municipal code concerning personal mobility vehicles.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. In the packet, we provided a memo basically since the last meeting, May 5th. There was very constructive comments from the board and as well as the public concerning the ordinance that was presented to you at that time. Some key revisions that I would like to bring up is age restrictions with the revised ordinance, where individuals between the ages of 8 and 16 are not permitted to use the motor-driven vehicle independently. In addition to that, parental supervision, which goes along with what I just said, individuals between the ages of 8 and 16 will be able to operate the motor-driven vehicles and or scooters when accompanied by a parent or legal guardian. There was concern before about multiple people on these devices, so we included in the ordinance a single rider rule where only one individual can be on any of those devices at a time. And one other issue that came up was reference to restriction to the roadways. So anybody that is permitted to drive a motor-driven vehicle can use any of the streets within the village. So those are the main changes to the, or updates to, from the conversations at the last meeting and from the public. We have been in contact with District 109, 113, pushing these changes out as well through social media and all the e-blasts and stuff that David Fitzgerald puts out for the village. So those are the changes that are being presented to you in conjunction with what was last time.
Again, I want to thank you for your hard work. The changes, these main changes were put into an amended ordinance for this board's consideration after hearing public comment as well as trustee comments over the last week or so. One other thing that's not in the ordinance, but that we did talk about, is that we would come back in 90 days after the time that this is passed for a review from your department or anyone else that can provide information on how any ordinance that we would adopt is going. So we would do that, and whoever makes a motion, I would ask that that be included, the 90-day review period, to consider what has happened the preceding 90 days. Before I open this up to the public and then to the board, are there any questions for Brian?
I have a question. I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So, Class 1, Class 2, Class 3 electric bikes are allowed?
Yes. There's
for
nothing
kids
changing.
between the ages of 8 and 16? So I get that I'm going to call them e-dirt bikes. Those are not allowed. But like a regular e-bike.
Those have certain restrictions that are regulated already by the IVC, the vehicle code. I'd have to give me 2 seconds, I can get my sheet that
From the
has that
state,
information.
you're saying?
From the state. The state already regulates. This ordinance has nothing to do with e-bikes. And the e-bikes are the pedal assist.
So that's like Class 1, Class 2. Those are 20
correct.
miles an hour. So could a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old ride an e-bike that's a Class 1?
I believe there's an age restriction. Let me
Okay.
get my.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm completely understanding it.
We'll take our time.
It's so complicated.
It's very complicated.
It's bewildering how many different vehicles, how
Right.
many different devices there
Right.
are.
Yes,
It's
so I got
insane.
Yes, so
And
I
it's
gotta,
changing by the minute.
Exactly.
Yes.
And as Brian looks at this, I
Oh,
believe
that I know, but I just want to make sure about the ages.
Right. As Brian's looking this
Because
up,
I
I
have
believe
Class
that
1.
was maybe the impetus for the flyer that went out last fall that had different, like different, whatever, pictures, and it's like a chart.
Right.
And I think that's maybe what you're asking about. But we don't want to put you on the spot. So you take your time looking at it, and we can, ask other questions or offer the public an opportunity to ask any questions while you're looking that up.
I had a question as well, just following up on Elaine's question, and I'm not sure if we're asking the same thing here, but in the compliance portion of the draft ordinance, subsection 1 and 2, I understand subsection 1. We talked about that, it's unlawful for any person under the age of 16, right? We discussed that, but the second one, it's unlawful for any person under the age of 18.
Mm-hmm. That's the state.
That's for a low speed.
That's the state
That's
regulation.
the
That's the
state
state regulation.
regulation.
I thought it was a typo.
That is the state regulation.
So we are repeating.
We have to.
In the ordinance.
Yes.
We are repeating state law.
Reciting.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Which is common.
Okay. That clarifies that. Thank you.
Okay. back to the question. Where'd it go? There is no restriction for Class 1 or Class 2 e-bike.
Okay.
The restriction for a Class 3 e-bike is you have to be a minimum age of 16.
I'm with you on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
And low-speed scooter is 18.
It's in there. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got it.
Okay.
Till they invent another one.
Yeah, until they get a Class 4.
I have two questions.
I have comments, though, too, but I'll wait. It's later.
On the memorandum that we received, the key revisions to the ordinance, item 2 that discusses parental supervision, it mentions individuals between the age of 8 and 16 may operate. Should it be individuals between the ages of 8 and under 16?
Well, I think as
Or
written, our
between.
ordinance says you have to be 16 and a licensed driver. So I would defer to Steve on.
It's a good technical point. I would not look at the ordinance language, not the staff summary of the ordinance. Technically, it's correct because it uses the word between, but I think the way we drafted it in the ordinance is the way it should be read. And that'll be the official, if approved, the official document, not the cover page. Good point, though.
Okay. Actually, that's it. That's all I had.
Before we get to comments, any other questions from the board? Questions from the public? Or comments from the public? Yes, sir.
So
Well, you're going to have, would you please come up, introduce yourself? And
The mic.
yeah.
Hi, I'm resident Mark Lebb, and I was trying to understand what you had said. When I read through that document that I downloaded, it was pretty harsh that kids were not going to be able to ride to school on whatever bicycles they had, primarily the bicycles that had the pedal assist or electric assist. And that's what concerns me is restricting that. So what I was reading was pretty harsh. I understand there's the pedalless bikes that are battery powered that are a completely different category of bikes that weren't available when I was a kid. So whatever you guys decide on that is beyond me. I'm concerned about the pedal bicycles and that or the electric scooters. Again, the different speeds and ages that that the kids can ride without parental supervision. Because I know that I cannot be present when my son is riding any of this. I mean, to and from school, to and from work, it's just unrealistic. So what you had said, or the officer, is the pedal bikes are not restricted at this time, or there's a state?
I'm going to defer to Steve Elrod, our village attorney,
Right.
who will be able to answer it better.
And I appreciate the confusion, but there's two levels of regulation that exist. There's the state of Illinois, and then there's the village of Deerfield. All that is being considered tonight is what we are defining as low-speed electric scooter. That is the regulation that's on the table for tonight. The question that was asked, which is a good question for general knowledge, concerns state statute, which exists outside of our control. You'd want to talk with your state legislators about concerns about that being too restrictive or not restrictive enough, but nothing that we can or are doing tonight concerns those state regulations.
That would be just the police enforcing those.
We are obligated
Right,
to enforce
yes.
those, right, because they're state law.
No, we're regulating.
And low speed each.
Yeah, we're regulating more than just scooter.
Right. Everything that falls within the definition of our section, but it's not what what was read as part of the state statute.
Okay.
Our restrictions, just to
Let's put it out there, Steve. Let's just articulate that.
yeah, our restriction governs low-speed electric scooters, we have a definition and a regulation also for low-speed electric bicycle, a toy vehicle, which we have certain exemptions for.
Right.
Those are the three categories that we have in our.
Right, so it's not just scooters, it's also other vehicles that our regulation addresses.
Yes, what we are defining as a low-speed electric bicycle.
Correct. Which is different than the bikes
That
are
were read
regulated
in the definition
by the
state of Illinois. That is
Yes.
correct.
Which is what he's talking about.
Yes.
Which is what I thought the question was and what the answer was.
So if you're confused,
Yes.
don't
Now
feel
you just
bad.
made it more confusing.
Don't feel bad.
But tonight, you're going to be voting on what Deerfield's going to additionally do on top of the state. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Because there's, not from our perspective, there's a gap in what the state regulates versus what it doesn't regulate. And it would be an ordinance, if we adopt it, that fills that gap.
When would this begin and being enforced? The Deerfield's new.
Because it has a fine element to it, we are required to wait 10 days for it to be effective. So it could be passed tonight. It could be passed tonight, but it wouldn't be effective until 10 days from now.
And then reviewed again in 90 days?
Yes.
Correct.
And, okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for bringing your kids or whomever you brought tonight.
Yes.
I'm glad that they're participating in this discussion and listening. Thank you guys for being here. Any other questions from the public? Yes, sir.
Hi there, my name's Dana Shirey. I live just down the street at Hazel and Broadmoor. I wanted to thank you all for investigating and researching this topic because, in my opinion, we as a village should have been looking at this topic last year because towards the end of the school year, it was becoming apparent that operators of these e-bikes and vehicles with throttle, without pedals, several students from the high school and even younger students were operating them in an unsafe manner. And especially in my neighborhood, I've noticed it, several times a day. Disregarding stop signs, blowing through intersections, riding doubles with the second passenger not wearing helmets. And it was very concerning to me as a father, as a parent. So I'm glad that you've taken the time to finally, pull your efforts and research and get law enforcement involved on this topic as well. I would hope that parents with these vehicles don't feel like they're being attacked or being treated unfairly. So I'm glad that, there are parents here that do have these vehicles. But I do want to ask the question that, is this being looked at from a specific type of vehicle, mainly the vehicles with pedals and a throttle? Because I noticed that in the revision, it said that it is unlawful for any person under the age of 16 or without a valid driver's license to operate vehicles solely propelled by a throttle. So we're clearly making a distinction here between vehicles with a throttle and those with pedal assist, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We are.
Okay.
Brian, do you want to jump in on this one? Or
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was going to ask the same question.
Okay.
Just that the way I read it, it seems like there's no differentiation, but it's just if there's a motor on it, whether it's electric or gas, whether you pedal or not, it's in the 8 to 16, you need a license. So if you want to put that in, and Andy Butcher, I was going to ask the same question.
Thank you.
The restriction for the motor-driven vehicle with the throttle covers the alterations where they can remove the pedals from these devices and then just use the throttle, so it's covering all aspects of it. And it's not eliminating or restricting what was brought up earlier with the Class 1 and 2 bicycles that are regulated by the state. So this ordinance is covering everything that's not regulated by the state, which could have a throttle, which could have pedal and throttle, can have all that. And the state regulations with the with the class 1, 2, and 3, they have to be designated on the bike that what class they are. And these motor-driven vehicles that we're talking about don't have any classifications.
So last time we made a point that the definition was a vehicle that was solely powered by electric motor
or
gas motor.
Correct.
That definition hasn't changed, but we added the throttle element into the most recent revisions.
Correct.
And the intent of that was to make sure that that also would be contrary to our ordinance, or prohibited rather.
Correct.
Be
Prohibited
by
by-
the ordinance.
correct.
Thank you. Yeah. Andy, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. Like, it seems like pedal assist without a throttle is okay.
If you could just come up,
Yeah.
because it could be easier for us to hear you.
The
And
subtleties of the language we have to find out. I'm Andy Batcher. I live in Deerfield.
And you're here with Jacob?
I'm here with Jacob. We're trying to clarify. The pedal assist e-bike is okay as long as it doesn't have a throttle, but a pedal assist e-bike with a throttle would not be okay.
Correct.
That's
correct.
Okay,
Yes.
that did not. That was my lack of lawyering skills to read that document. So thank you for that clarification.
And thank you for your input by tonight, last time, as well as your emails. They're very thoughtful. We appreciate your input. Any other comments? Howard, please.
Before I proceed,
We know who you are, but not everyone knows who you
Thank
are.
you.
So please introduce yourself.
Howard Handler, Deerfield resident, 1730 Overland Trail. Before I proceed, can I just get a clarification? This would prohibit underage use of motor scooter, of like the stand-up scooters too?
Without any
The two-wheel
that aren't
motorized.
electric or motors or anything? No, those are
No,
fine.
no, a motorized scooter, not the e-bikes.
This scooters are part of the prohibition.
Okay.
Electric scooters.
Yeah.
So
I
motorized
didn't-
scooters, thank you, are
Okay,
part
yeah,
of the prohibition.
thank you. I didn't come very prepared, truthfully. I was actually at Whole Foods, and I said, oh, wait, I think this meeting's going on. And I came over here, and I said, I was kind of interested in the issue, but not super well versed on it. So I don't know all the history of the ordinance or all the background. I actually share a lot of the safety concerns that you all share. As a parent, I'm actually like, between my wife and I, I'm usually the more cautious parent when it comes to these type of things. But to me, it just kind of seems that the genesis of this issue is complaints of, which I haven't visually seen before. I'm on all the Facebook groups, so I hear it too, of kids racing through the fields of Jewett Park and tearing up the fields on the e-bikes. And I do not own an e-bike. I have no kid that rides those e-bikes. But the speed of this ordinance and just the reading of the ordinance, it strikes me as just kind of very hastily prepared. With maybe, I know a lot of the community is now kind of aware of it or some of it, but it just seems to me a little bit like it's a sledgehammer trying to crack a nut, especially as it relates to like to the scooters and some of the other maybe some of the other mobile devices that kids are riding around. And I know like the real intent was essentially to go after kids that are being very unsafe and maybe even disrespectful, tearing up the community. But I just feel like maybe it's going a little too far. And I think, admittedly, we do own a scooter, not the motorized bikes, but like the stand-up ones with like the handles. And I know that they can be potentially dangerous as well. But I just think, I have no idea what the number is, but I'd have to think at least hundreds and hundreds of households in Deerfield have a scooter like that. And it's going to instantly, there's not too many, I know there's some adults riding them, but not too many, criminalize use of all these scooters just instantaneously overnight. And I just think this was going a little fast. and maybe a little too hasty, and would maybe urge you all to just kind of step back and, I don't know, tinker with this a little bit more, think of some alternatives.
So, thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
We started looking at this in the fall, and I understand that you may not have been part of the meetings. We started looking in the fall. We brought attention to the schools in the fall with the flyer that we talked about just a couple minutes ago, which outlines the state laws. The fall came and went, and the vehicles disappeared because it's wintertime. But as soon as spring broke, we were back on doing this. We've had one committee of the whole meeting. We had a village board meeting, and this is our second village board meeting. We've entertained comments from the public by Facebook, by website, by social media, through schools, through parks, through every avenue possible to elicit as many comments, including your own, over the last at least month. There are two concerns, though there are many concerns, but two main concerns in my point of view. One is schools can be let out in 3 weeks or less. And the prevalence of these will become tenfold what you see now. So that's a concern, and that's a timing issue. The other concern that really drove this issue, no pun intended, is the lack of safety and the incidents, close calls, police reports, incidents,
complaints
that are more than we have two hands, each of us, on this board. There is a safety concern. Understanding that there are some folks and parents who are quite responsible, but there's a safety concern, and from some people from this community have died, not in Deerfield, but residents of this community have died from one of these accidents.
Yes.
So we're very concerned about this, and we are we're very desirous of passing an ordinance. Hopefully, we will come together in passing an ordinance with a review in 90 days. So, but thank you for your comments. I appreciate them. Anyone else?
Can I just ask about the review? What is the goal once you have implemented this ordinance and passed it? What does that 90-day review entail?
So there could be a lot of things that could happen in 90 days.
Okay.
Right.
There could be state legislation. There could be other communities that we could look at to see if they have some success or failures. And we'll be looking at our own police department to see how enforcement or how some of the complaints or safety issues have been dealt with, I suppose, for lack of a better word, over the 90 days. And we'll hear from the community again.
Accident reports. So,
and we'll look at reports like
we've had several police department physical reports that have been issued based on what's happened. So I think that's a big piece of it, right? So when we can say, okay, this child ran into or engaged the throttle instead of the brake and caused an accident, which we've had, those kind of reports, we want to see that, right? Because we get that kids are kids. We don't want kids not to be kids. That's not the point. But if they're causing safety issues as a result of that, and people getting hurt, damage to property, all that kind of stuff. So I would think that would be part of that assessment. Okay. So you're asking me that question. I think that's a big part of that assessment.
At the end of the 90 days, then, if you see, I'm positive that we're going to see a reduction in complaints and incidents and things like that. But at the end of that 90 days, would then you all come back together and tweak the ordinance again?
If we need to.
If it's too strong an ordinance or too lax an ordinance?
It's basically open. There's no agenda on we're going to make it stronger or more restrictive or less restrictive. It's basically an open...
The facts show. What
an open look at where we were the previous 90 days.
And I think our goal would be to fine-tune it to make it as effective as we can make it.
Mm-hmm. and unrestricted where it needs to be unrestricted.
It's not predetermined in any way, shape, or form. Just maybe if
But
that's what
I
you're
think
thinking.
you have a good guideline and a good foundation for something now. It's just, making sure that it's not too restrictive where, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids aren't allowed to ride anything. So I'm glad you're seeking input from the community as well on this very important issue for our community.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you. Other questions from the public before I ask for comments from the board? Howard, did you want?
One more question.
Sure. Come on up.
That comment, your comment just now was just kind of confusing to me because what data would you really have after 90 days other than those that either are unaware of the law or purposely flout the law? Because this is, to me, the most restrictive ordinance you can be. So I don't know how you would be able to be like, oh, we should make it. I don't even know how you could even make it more restrictive. So it just seems like you wouldn't really have much data at all other than people are following the law or they're not.
If I may, when dealing with a cutting edge issue such as this, there's two ways to approach it. You could wait and see what the rest of the state and the communities do, or you can take action. In taking action, it is a good idea to have a look back and schedule. The 90 days is not any magical day, and it, most important, does not mean that on the 91st day or on the 100th day or in 6 months or in a year, the village can't look back at its ordinance and make a determination. They're just forcing if the motion.
No, I don't think it's a bad idea to look back, but you're not going to have. I don't know what you're kind of saying. Like you would have this opportunity to review data and see, but there is going to be not.
So
not much data.
what I said, Howard, was after 90 days, we'll be able to see if there's any new legislation at the state level, any other state legislation from other communities that we can learn from.
Yeah.
We'll be able to hear from the community like yourself in 90 days, as well as the police. So it's not solely data-driven.
Yeah.
It will be an opportunity for us to look at the 90 days to see whether there's an opportunity to make this a better ordinance.
And 90 days during the highest usage of the activity being regulated.
Right, but you're prohibiting pretty much all usage for the most part, except for adults.
I understand.
Right.
Yes, please come introduce yourself.
My name's Steph Leb. I'm a freshman in high school. My name's Steph Leb. I'm a freshman in high school at DHS. My question is, I have a pedal bike with also a throttle. Am I now permitted from driving that to work, football, and home all summer now?
A Class 3 e-bike has, if it's not a Class 3 e-bike, no.
So if it's a Class 3, which is, 28 miles an hour, right? Yeah. So if it's one of those, I'm going to be pulled over and wrote a $100 fine, right? Is it something like that?
Yes.
Correct? And I have it's a warning, then $100, then it's just no matter what, I'm able to ride it's able to have a throttle, it's able to have pedals, it just has to be Class 2 or Class 1, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Or no throttle.
It's from the manufacturer. My bike only goes 20 miles an hour, which is Class 2. And it's legalized by the company, which is a toy.
So that's allowed.
Correct. So I'm going to still be pulled over out of my way. Then how are you guys able to know if that's a Class 2 or 3? Where, how are you? Am I going to be since it's a regular bike? It looks like a regular bike. Am I going to be still pulled over because it has any sort of motor?
No.
No.
You won't be going fast enough.
Correct. So if I'm going the speed limit, all that below, because I'm going to be going below the speed limit on anything, because I'm a very safe rider. I don't like accidents. I don't like people get hurt. So I'm just a very safe rider. I'm just making sure that I'm able to get from football to work to my house without any problems.
Well,
correct?
You should be able to.
The intent is not to pull you over, but I can't promise that you won't be pulled over because this is kind of new, and in the enforcement mechanism will take some time to work its way through. But if it's clear that it's permitted by the state, you won't be fined.
Correct. So the only way that I will be pulled over if I'm going fast enough, as you say, but if it has pedals and a throttle, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I think
correct?
you got the officers here to make
Correct?
your case to.
Yeah.
So it's just unless somebody's going, let's say 40 mile an hour, you're then to pull those people over. But if you're going 20, I'm fine. Correct?
If you're riding down the sidewalk and you knock people down,
Correct. That's
they may pull you over.
Thank you all for your time.
Are they allowed on sidewalks though?
No.
No.
Just bear with us 1 second.
Just to clarify, we're talking about the two distinct, the electric scooters, we're talking about throttle driven. If it's being, and this is what we'll look into further, if it's being operated solely by the use of the throttle, it's prohibited.
Correct.
E-assist bikes in conjunction with the pedal are fine.
Right.
But to use a bike just by throttle is prohibited. It can have pedals, but if you're not using them, it's prohibited.
Okay.
Because then it becomes a motorcycle.
Right.
Yes. And again, those were the two targets, the stand-up scooters and the electric dirt bikes, if you will,
It's
to
easy
go
for
back
me
in
to
time.
understand it that way.
Are you guys, Howard, excuse me, I want to make sure you heard the chief answer your question.
Your
because
question
it
was,
very important.
is it legal because it has a throttle and pedals?
Correct.
The answer is twofold. Although it has, you have to be using the pedals. What we are prohibiting is the use of any device solely being driven by a throttle. So if you're going down Greenwood using just the throttle, it's prohibited. If you're pedaling and using the throttle to assist, you're legal.
So if I'm using my pedals
Mhm.
as my main thing, but having the motor give me a little
Yes.
assist,
Yep.
I'm totally fine.
That's the true meaning of
But
the
if I'm
e-bikes.
just throttling it without using the use of pedals.
Illegal.
Correct. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay.
Okay. I thought you might want to know that.
Thank you. That was
All right.
very helpful.
All right.
Yes, thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the public before we go to the board?
How did you arrive on the $100 fine as the beginning point? How did that come up as the first offense, the first?
I think this is a standard
Standard
fine level for first offense.
Violations of
The standard of any village violation is $100?
Yes, unless certain things
Traffic.
have higher than that.
But the minimum is 100
this
is what
the
you're
de-
saying.
This is more or less the default
Okay.
fine.
And Mayor, if I could touch on that point, that we've said this from the beginning, education is going to be the focus as we move forward. The fine will be reserved for those folks that are just disregarding the
Repeat
warnings
customers.
and all those other things. So we're not going to go on day 10 and start writing $100 tickets. There's going to be a lot of steps in between before we get there.
Does that fine then escalate for second, third, fourth?
Not in this ordinance.
One quick question. You said I cannot be on the sidewalk? Or I can?
You cannot be on the sidewalk.
So then where am I meant to ride? Because being
You're
on the street.
on the street.
So going below the speed limit on the street is then safe?
Yes. Safer than going on the sidewalk.
So I'm able to be on the street and there's no anything. I can be on the street and somebody can't be honking at me, be like, get on the sidewalk.
Whether they honk or not.
If I abide by the rules, go at the stop sign, go at all
Yes.
that, I'm able to be on Deerfield Road, you're saying?
And you can do that today, and you'll be able to do it 10 days from now.
So I can be on Deerfield Road and Waukegan Road going
20 miles an hour.
correct. I
Yes.
can do that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Right.
You guys are great. This is super helpful.
Please tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Nikita. I had a question.
Do you have the same last name, Nikita?
No, Nikita Sushinskas.
Okay.
Susinskas. I had a question. So my bike, it doesn't have what's it called?
Throttle?
It has a throttle, just not a brake signal. And if I'm riding on Deerfield Road, I feel like that's not safe. So, and I can't ride on the sidewalk.
Correct.
I believe under the ordinance you have to have a brake signal.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
He said that he doesn't have a brake. He doesn't have a stoplight. He's got
A brake
brakes,
light.
Not the stoplight. He's got a headlight.
You need a brake light.
So brake light,
lights.
do you want turning signals or no?
Gotta have lights.
Or you guys, it's just brake light, headlight, and a helmet, right?
Basically,
no
the
one
same.
else on it with you.
Right.
Okay? All right. You're going to help us with the next revision, okay?
I will be here.
Good.
Awesome.
I expect you to be.
What date is that?
Well, I don't know. We'll let you know
August.
when we consider this. It could be August 18th, but don't know yet.
We still have some discussion.
Yes, I know that. Okay. Anyone else from the public before we turn it to the board? All right. So I know the board has some thoughts. I'm going to start from my right to the left. Jesse.
I want to thank the members of the public for really all the comments. I thought they were really constructive. To me, concerns for safety was like number 1, 2, and 3 priorities. The last meeting, I expressed some interest in making sure that we weren't taking away this privilege from folks who were riding responsibly. And I think that the amendments that were made between the last meeting and this meeting has done about as good a job as I could imagine trying to thread the needle between ensuring the public is safe, making sure there's parental responsibility, and also allowing for appropriate use of vehicles to allow our kids to get to practice, to get to school, to get to their friends' houses. This may not be perfect, but I really appreciate the changes that were made, and I think it's a whole lot better. I'm very comfortable with this, and I think revisiting it in 90 days to look at the data, to look at other changes in communities is a really smart thing.
Thank you, Bob.
I've had a lot of comment from people, primarily not dealing with the village, but dealing with specifically the Park District. And I know that they are considering this. My thought is, or my question is, have you gone out to the Park District? Because a lot of where this has been particularly dangerous to the public, at least they've been saying it, is in the parks. And I don't know how they patrol it in the parks, but it seems to me there should be some method of keeping this same kind of control within the parks. And I don't know where that is.
We are working with the Park District.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for.
So we've reached out to the Park District. They're aware of this ordinance. We've asked them their thoughts to it, and they are going to be considering it, I think, at their next meeting or shortly thereafter. If they want to prohibit or to mirror or to have this ordinance apply to parks, they need to make that known to us. But we've told them about this, and we're feeling that they do because it's kind of been their history, but we don't know until they take it to a meeting. Any other comments, Bob?
Nope.
Jen?
I also feel that safety is my number one concern on this issue. I have personal relationships with 2 families that I know have had very horrible incidences with these, so I really think that safety is the most important. I do appreciate the changes that have been made in the last 2 weeks, and I, want to kind of see how things progress over the summer. So I think it's important that we move forward. I also really feel that we should continue to look into education programs through the schools, because while it may not be in this ordinance, I do feel that that's important so that these kids know the rules of the road. This young man seems to know them, but he's not, you don't have a license yet, right? So I'm more concerned about the kids below that age group that are riding these vehicles that don't have any knowledge. And I also feel that again, and I know it's a bigger question, I really would like us as a board to consider a certain pathway so that we don't have these kids on Deerfield Road and Waukegan Road, and suggest routes that are more appropriate for these types of vehicles, as I totally don't want them on the sidewalk. So those are my thoughts. I think that it's not perfect, as we all know, but I think it gets us a lot closer to where we want to be.
I'm very much in support of the ordinances. You probably know, since I'm the one who brought it up in the first place. I do feel that this is our best attempt to make a safe situation for everybody involved, both for pedestrians, for young people who ride their bikes or the scooters, for drivers. And unfortunately, you know, we live in a community that was built in a certain way. All of these items are new technology that our infrastructure just simply didn't know of, doesn't support. It would be just delightful if we could widen the road so that we had a lane for cars and we had a lane for e-bikes and assisted vehicles, and then we had another room for a wide sidewalk for walkers. It would be just delightful. We don't. You know, our main thoroughfares are a state highway, Cook County Road, and a Lake County Road. We have the infrastructure that we have, and we have to work with that and make it so that it's as safe as we can possibly make it for everybody. You know, there may be some inconveniences through this. I do believe we can fine-tune this to try to satisfy all the needs we have for safety. All of the letters that we've gotten, I know that we've all gotten them. I think I got 20 letters from people over the last 2 weeks since our last meeting. Of those, I think only 2 opposed regulating these. It's a very widespread need in the community. We need to do something. And I believe this is a good way to try to make it safe for everyone. So I'm very much in favor of the ordinance. One thing I would like to comment, and I'm going to throw this right in your laps, Brian, you and John. One of the comments that I have received repeatedly, not just over the last 2 weeks, but for months before this, people complaining about being mowed down by moving vehicles on the sidewalks in the square. Mm. It was my understanding, according to code, and I looked this up, you're not allowed to ride a bike of any kind on the square. You're supposed to be walking your bicycle. Is that correct?
I'd have to double check, but I believe that was for the old property owner at the old property of Deerfield Commons. Thank you.
I'd look it up.
Like I said, I have, but it is private property, and we are in contact with the private property owners in order for them to regulate it on their property.
But I can't tell you how many times somebody has told me they've walked out the door of Whole Foods or some other business and have somebody almost knock them over on a motorized vehicle. So is there any way that we can enforce, that we can somehow effect walking of vehicles in the square?
One of the things we'll have to do is engage a private property agreement with those shopping centers to enforce that particular regulation. I know we historically we've done fire lanes, and Brian and John, I don't know.
We have had conversation with Mr. Malk already. We would have to enter into an agreement with the property owner to enforce it. In our conversations as of 3 days ago, fully endorses that concept, and it will work with
because it's private property. We can't do anything without the permission of the owner
but
and an agreement.
To do that process, put some signage up and try to enforce that would certainly help, I think.
That's on the property owner.
Okay.
We'll have the agreement to enforce. Signage and those things will be the responsibility of the property owner. But so, I mean, as of 3 days ago, he's very encouraged by the ordinance and anticipates.
Yeah. You know, and we're all torn here. I don't want kids riding in the street. I don't want motorized vehicles knocking people down on the sidewalk. This, I believe, is our best solution at this point.
Correct.
So,
We will pursue with both Deerfield Square and Deerfield Center, which are those two shopping centers, a private property agreement,
We'll
which we have to enter
include Deerbrook
into
as well.
to
We'll
allow us to
include
enforce
Deerbrook
it.
as well.
okay.
To impose it.
Anything else?
No, thank
Elaine?
you.
So, out of all of us sitting up here, I think I'm the only e-bike rider and e-scooter driver. I'm also all for kids' independence. So I like some of the changes that have been made. I think it's a good start. I'm not at the point where I'm going to vote yes for this ordinance yet, because I think it's imperative that I'm happy, I didn't know until tonight because it was so confusing, that kids can ride their e-bikes to school, to practice, to soccer, to wherever. I have been riding mine every single day for a year, minus the winter. I'm back out on it. I ride on the sidewalk of Deerfield Road and Waukegan Road, and I am over the age, I'm not going to say how much over, but well over, of being in high school and being on the football team. And I don't feel safe riding on the street. So I think there's work to do there. I don't think it's smart to force the kids, to tell the kids, that's where you got to go. But I want the kids to ride to school. I want them to ride their scooters. I don't want to have the parents have to jog their schedules and get in a car and drive kids to soccer. We're trying to make it more green, not less. So I think we have work to do. I think the work comes here twofold. One, we got to work much faster and harder with the downtown centers to get those agreements ASAP, because most of the complaints have come from the kids out of riding recklessly by Whole Foods or by the Starbucks.
And in the parks.
And in the parks. But we've already started with the parks. So we got to get going on that. The other part that bothers me, the way it's written, is 8-year-olds and under can ride a scooter. 16 and up can ride a scooter. But that sweet spot, the kids who are going to soccer and tutor, the way it's written, can't. So I'd like to work it so those kids can ride their e-scooters and be independent and get to practice and get to a play date and get to high school as a freshman instead of having mom and dad drive them. So I think there's work to do, and I applaud you and thank you for getting us there. We're almost there. We're almost there. But I will not vote yes, because we're not close enough for a yes vote, because, as I said, once you squeeze the toothpaste out of the tube, it's really hard to get it back in. So if we start too restricted, I'm worried. Also, the past few weeks, since the weather's been nice, there are good kids out there. I don't think we have enough faith in the good kids. There's a handful of bad apples, but I don't want to punish the good ones. The other day when I was on the sidewalk, on Deerfield Road, on my e-bike, 2 middle schoolers came by, and it wasn't Jacob, because I know Jacob. One was on an e-bike, and one was on an e-scooter, and we were coming towards each other. So being the mature adult, I stopped, I waited, I moved my bike aside, and the 2 boys came by me. And when they went by me, they both said, "Thank you." It was lovely. So they're out there. I also think that all of us in our cars and walking our dogs have to look up from your phones and pay attention, because there's a lot more people out there on a scooter and on a bike. So it's also, the onus is also on us. So that's...
And Elaine, just to touch on your comment and to Bob's about the private property in the parks, we are working with them,
I know,
have been
it's
working
hard,
with them,
yeah.
but and also sounds crazy. Theoretically, they can no longer get there. They can't ride. It's illegal for them to be on the streets and operate these devices. So they can't get from home to the park without riding on the street or the sidewalks illegally.
Right. That's
So
what I'm
we
saying.
should see a reduced usage just in those events because of the fact they can no longer get there.
But let's not forget, young people, old people, anyone can ride a regular bike.
Oh, that's exactly
I'm not
right.
getting on my regular
I mean,
bike.
we're not-
I'm done. I'm done with my regular
Well-
bike. It hangs. It's dusty.
And e-bikes are already
I'm being
regulated by
honest.
the state that they
Right?
have to be in the street, correct? E-bikes have to be on the street as we started this a year ago.
Right.
Yeah.
So that hasn't changed even a
Yes.
little bit.
Yes. Yes.
Like all the other board members, we've been inundated with a lot of comments from the community. There's a lot of strong feelings, and without keeping stats, there's a great majority of people, of residents, that want restrictions. What those restrictions are, that's for us to determine. But obviously there are a handful opposed to restrictions, but the basis of most of the people who want restrictions are they're at their kids' baseball game, the grandparents are there, and people are driving recklessly through the park. They're coming out of Starbucks, and they nearly got run over by somebody driving recklessly. My opinion is that restrictions are necessary. Talking to the chief and the deputy chiefs, I think the primary focus of the police department is twofold: education and compliance, not enforcement. Enforcement would be done only as needed. Education is huge. If everybody knows what the rules are, hopefully we're going to have compliance, and $100 tickets are a non-issue. Those are going to be few and far between. Someone chooses to thumb their nose at the rules, thumb their nose at the police trying to do their job, they should have a $100 ticket. But warnings and education and compliance, I think, will be our primary focus and the primary focus of the police department. So I like to look back in 90 days. I don't know whatever we do tonight is going to be perfect. It's probably going to be imperfect, but that's going to give us an opportunity to do something now for the safety of the community, and then do our look back and perhaps perfect what we do tonight.
I'm going to just give some final comments, and then if we're ready, we'll bring it to a vote. The first thing that comes to my mind is safety. This didn't happen just because. It happened because of a lot of safety concern, police reports, incident reports, et cetera, that have been brought to the police's attention over the last several months. And that safety concern urges us as a board to take responsibility and to adopt regulations where there's a gap in the state law. I think we have the obligation to do so. We have the obligation to do so in a thoughtful, deliberate manner that may not be perfect, but allows us to respond to the safety concerns that we see frequently in the emails that we get and police comments that have been forwarded to us. That's my first thing. The second thing is, this is not a perfect ordinance because of its complexity, because of the state, because of the different needs, very well-intentioned, sincere needs that different people have and goals. So it is something that we all may feel a little uncomfortable with, but comfortable enough at this time to consider adopting. The revisions, I'm glad that we listened to the public and took comments from the board, because I think the revisions made this a better ordinance than it was 2 weeks ago. Brian, you've done a lot of work bringing this forward. I remember when we first talked about it, you had about 3 feet of ordinances that you were looking at from around the area, and how do we try to put this together? That's a lot of work. Our village is unique. It's unique from Lake Forest. It's unique from Northbrook. Every village is unique. And we're trying to take what we have, both physically as well as our community and et cetera, and put it into something that I like to think is responsive and responsible. We will come back here if this ordinance would be adopted. We would come back here on August 18th and look at this again and see if we can make it better. Again, it may not be perfect, but we'll try to see if we can make it better. If anyone wants to forward the motion to adopt the ordinance, I would only ask that you include in your motion the look back of August 18th, the 90-day look back of August 19th in your motion. So are there any other comments before I ask for a vote?
Wait, time out. I just want to clarify. The ordinance doesn't say you have to have a brake light. It just says you have to have a brake.
Reflector.
It has to have a light 500 feet.
It's on there.
Lights don't have brake lights.
I know. That's what this kid was asking, and you guys said yes, but it's not.
Red reflector. Thank you for that
Yeah.
close
It's a
call.
reflector. It's
Right,
a
so I just
signal.
want to make it clear, because I'm
Yes.
not going out getting
A
brake
signal.
light.
It's a signal that you're using your brake.
No.
It's
no,
a brake.
no.
It's
No.
a red
Don't
reflector.
have that.
A signal if there's a
Oh, it's just a
bicycle.
reflector, right.
Yeah.
They can see
Regular
you.
bikes don't have that.
They
No
can
bikes.
see you as you apply your brake. Got it.
Okay.
All right.
It needs a brake, but has to have a reflector.
Yes.
Okay.
Put that down.
What he said.
Any other comments from the board or from the public before we consider a motion? I'll call for the motion. Hold on, let me make sure I got this right. An ordinance amending Chapter 22 of the Municipal Code concerning personal mobility vehicles. Is there a motion?
So moved, with the addition that we come back to reevaluate this
Not
ordinance.
just evaluate, not reevaluate.
Okay.
That was a typo. So-
Evaluate
Yep.
this ordinance during the second meeting in August.
Okay. I think it's August 18th, but it is what it is, whatever our second meeting is in August. There's the motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? Further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Greenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Oppenheim.
Yes.
Trustee Jacoby.
No.
Trustee Benton.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Goldstone.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And an effective date of June 1st.
Moving on to new business. Item 2534, resolution ratifying the purchase of a vehicle from Highland Park Ford.
Hi, Mayor and Board. Police Department's here tonight seeking approval of a resolution ratifying the purchase of a vehicle from Highland Park Ford. At the meeting in September of 2022, the Village Board adopted Resolution 22-47, which authorized the village manager to take immediate action to purchase vehicles, even if the cost exceeded the manager's standard purchasing authority. In accordance with this resolution, the village manager approved the purchase of a Ford Escape Hybrid for $31,995 from Highland Park Ford. This item is budgeted for in the budget this year for the police department, as well as being planned for in the vehicle equipment replacement fund. It's going to be replacing a 2014 Dodge Caravan. This will be the police department's second hybrid vehicle and will be used primarily by our social services division. With this purchase, it further advances the police department's goal of acquiring and incorporating more hybrid vehicles into our fleet.
Does anyone have any questions for Chris?
I am astonished by the spread of pricing from
Yes.
these three dealers.
I was blown away by it, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and older vehicles, last year's model on top of it.
It looks like we're getting a good deal, but I am very surprised by the range.
We've always been very pleased with the service from Highland Park Ford and the prices that they've been offering to us.
Huh. It's great.
Yeah, we are too. It's weird. I think it's such a different environment than 10, even 5 years ago in terms of bidding.
Yeah.
If they got it, they'll offer it? Do they really want to sell it, or they got a different buyer? It's such a weird environment.
Well, I'm delighted we're adding more hybrid vehicles. As you know, it's been a cause of mine for a long time, and I hope it works out, and I think we should buy it right away.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
On that enthusiastic note, are there any other comments from the trustees? Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Roll call on the resolution, please.
Trustee Jacoby?
Yes.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Yes.
Trustee Benton?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Goldstone?
Yes.
And Trustee Greenberg?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 2535, an ordinance amending Chapter 22 of the Municipal Code regarding towing of motor vehicles.
This one's much easier.
I hope so.
Good evening again. The police department is here requesting a change in the ordinance reference to towing of vehicles and the release of vehicles. It's been since 1989 that we haven't really touched the fees or anything with the towing of vehicles and or basically the removing of the boot, the Denver boot. So just to catch up with times, we're asking that the ordinance be updated to allow putting the fees into the fee schedule and remove them from basically from the ordinance. And then we're also asking that we establish a fee of $150 for the device removal, but we will keep the daily fee at $10 with the vehicle if it's not taken care of immediately. So,
questions?
I have one question. Or I suppose it's possibly two, have we had any problems with random and evil towers that come on and say, we're licensed and we'll take your vehicle for you and hold it and then continue to put fees on it until somebody picks it up? And secondly, is there a place that we allow these people to take it?
a lot of this ordinance is more referenced when we put the boot on the vehicle, so the vehicle will not move until they come to the police department in order to settle up on the fines and the past tickets that they haven't. There will be tow companies that tow from private property. They wouldn't be towing on behalf of us or the village.
I think that answers my question. If you have not had problems and we haven't had complaints, I would think everything is within range and copacetic, so to speak.
Yes.
So, Brian, by putting this in the fee schedule, it gives us the flexibility to adjust this in the future more easily than keeping the fee written into the ordinance? Is that why we're doing this?
Yes. Yeah, because otherwise we'd have to change the ordinance all the time, and then yearly we revisit the fee schedules.
Right.
And if we feel that the need to increase it, we'll address it at that point.
I just have a question. Is there an actual cost for us to remove the boot or whatever?
That's the $150.
No, that's what you're charging the person who's getting a ticket, right?
We're putting on the boot and taking it off.
And that's the $150?
Yes.
So that just covers our cost?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the intent. We're not trying to, this isn't a profit thing. This is about covering costs.
That's what I was just trying to understand. If there
that's
was
the intent.
Not a profit thing. I was thinking more of it as being a penalty.
Cover
But, yes, but I wanted to make sure it was covering our costs. So.
And that's why it's good to have it more flexible in case our costs go up.
Makes sense.
Gives us the ability to change it.
Makes sense to me.
Yep.
And also payable
How many
to
feet
us,
do you put
not to the company.
Yes.
It goes in spurts. You don't qualify until you have 3 unpaid parking tickets. And then after...
I've never seen it in Deerfield. I see it in the city a lot.
Yeah.
I've never seen it in Deerfield.
Yeah, we've done it.
We've
and
done
now
it
that
a
we
few
have a
times.
current boot that can fit the new wheels.
Yes.
That's another thing.
Yes, we...
The wheels keep getting bigger.
That'd be an
Yes.
antique
They're fancy.
boot.
The fancy boots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's in the shrine right now.
yeah. I get it.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Yes.
Trustee Benton?
Yes.
Trustee Berg? Trustee Goldstone?
Yes.
Trustee Greenberg?
Yes.
Trustee Jacoby?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 2536, an ordinance amending Chapter 5 of the Municipal Code regarding the impounding and redemption of animals from the pound.
It's a whole mixed bag tonight.
I'm sorry?
It's a whole mixed bag tonight.
Yes, we do a little bit of everything. Coming to you again tonight with to change the fees and the ordinance for two things with the animal ordinance or the dog ordinance is updating it to say animals as opposed to specifically dogs in this situation, and asking that under Section 5-9 impounding of animals and 5-9A for redemption from the pound. It's been since 1989 we've been collecting a $15 fee for the for when people go and pick up their dogs or cats or animals from the pound. And what we're asking is to change that in addition to saying animals as opposed to dogs is to also put this fee into the fee structure or fee schedule in order to allow us to revisit that on a more regular basis. And an example is right now we collect the $15 when we impound an animal, and the fee that we're actually being charged from the location we impound them is $150. So we've been covering that cost, and it's obviously it's time to catch up with that. The same as with the fees for with the booted autos. We're asking that we repeal 5-28 and 5-29 and adopt the new code 5-9 for impounding animals and 5-9A and pushing it into the fee structure.
And Brian, who do we work with in terms of who's our pound?
Orphans.
How do we do that?
Well, if we
don't
get
have
a
village pound anymore.
No, we don't have it. We use Orphans of the Storm. We will go out of our way to try and find the owner of the animal before we take it there. We'll post on social media. If we have the chip readers, to see if they have a chip, to try and do that. And a lot of times we'll keep it at the station for several hours. We have cages in the station before we take it to the pound. Because once we get it there, if it's off hours, they're going to have to wait till the next day.
So we're trying to reconnect.
Yes.
The families
with
their pets. Right. That's the intention.
But
have we had to impound other animals other than dogs?
We have cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No chickens?
No, not yet. No horses. No.
COVID saw a lot of additional adoptions that people didn't
Yeah.
handle well. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we've all kind of observed that.
Yeah.
We've experienced that too.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Sorry. Trustee Benton?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Goldstone?
Yes.
Trustee Greenberg?
Yes.
Trustee Jacoby?
Yes.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Before you go, I got a quick question. How is the flag of honor thing going?
The Field of Honor is
Thank you.
it's going
Yes.
awesome. So far, we are, I think, about $6,000 worth of donations as of last week, with still some outstanding donations that I know we're getting from some service clubs. I'm actually going to speak at the Optimist tomorrow, and West Deerfield Township also tomorrow. So it's progressing well. July 26th, going to be at the farmers market specifically for the Field of Honor, and then we'll also push it with the other times at the police department, and we're at the farmers market. So
great.
It's going to be outstanding.
Yes,
it's going to
it
be
is.
good. So, and we're setting up, getting a banner and stuff, so we'll put it up so it'll be able to display it a lot better at the farmers market. And as soon as we get everything, I'll convince Kent to let me put it up in the lobby.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Item 2538, a resolution to award flooring replacement at Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. You've all been to Public Works and you've seen the floor. To say that it's beat and beyond its useful life period is an understatement. It's been there. It's been that way. That's the original floor since 1989. We've done the best we can to kind of keep it going. We have some spare tiles and we replace them from time to time. But we have seen in some areas, in our out and about, we've seen some concrete floor refinishing that looks pretty durable, skid resistant, water resistant, used in grocery stores, industrial areas, and then NIPSTA, which is Northeastern Illinois Public Safety Training Academy. Andrew Lichterman and I sit on the board, and we go to their meetings. They had their entire facility done with this type of flooring, and it's great, and it's very durable. So we ended up getting 3 prices from different contractors, concrete finishers, Da Vinci painters, and All-Tech builders. Concrete finishers is the lowest price. They also happen to be the same contractor that did NIPSTA, which is one that I mentioned, and it looks great, and it's very functional. Most likely 20 to 30 year 20 to 30 year lifespan on a floor like this, and we're confident that it'll probably last at least that long, since we don't have super high traffic in our within our offices. So with that, since we didn't go out to do a formal bidding process, we're asking that the board waive the competitive bidding process and approve the resolution to enter into a contract with Concrete Finishers Incorporated in the amount of $27,325 to do the flooring work at Public Works. And this just as a reminder, this is just the first floor. So this is lunchroom, hallway, entranceway, offices down on the main floor of Public Works.
Questions? Comments?
Quick question: what kind of accommodation does all these different areas have to make while the installation occurs?
It's a great question. It's not an easy project, which is probably we're busy, so it's a lot of disruption, and so we have to find the right time of the year to do it, which is going to be after the 4th of July. And then we're going to have to remove all of the office furniture from the first floor, and put that into either pods or in the garage. That gives the contractor the best chance of a durable and the best finish. And then they can come in and knock it out in a week, and then we'll put everything back in. So we've already had conversations with IT. Not a big IT disruption. Because we have laptops and so forth. And then the big thing is just getting the bulky office furniture out of there and move into a space where we can store it for a week.
Is that something that the team is handling internally, or is there a cost to that as well?
Probably a little bit of both. Yeah, it's probably a couple $1,000s to have somebody come in and move it. We'll do a lot of the legwork ourselves. Certainly, there are ancillary costs. I would imagine we haven't dreamt those up yet, but I'm sure there will be some type of hidden cost somewhere.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
Move approval.
Second. Don't we have to say we have to waive the competitive bidding process?
Unless that's embedded in the resolution.
Is it?
Yeah. Roll call, please.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Goldstone?
Yes.
Trustee Greenberg?
Yes.
Trustee Jacoby?
Yes.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Yes.
And Trustee Benton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 2539, a resolution to award contract for the 2025 street rehab project.
Good evening, Board. Yeah, so this is the award for the contract for the street rehab project this year, but I would view this as more of an extension of the existing Hazel project. That $10 million project was federally funded as part of the Hazel Avenue Federal Aid Urban Route. However, these 3 streets that we're looking to rehab are off the outside of the right-of-way and therefore not able to be included within the Hazel project. Those 3 streets are Illinois Trail, Maple Court, and Journal Place. All 3 of them combined. Journal. So right next to Waukegan Road, it's that forms that triangle at the intersection. So these three streets are probably only 1,000 feet long. Very, very small little streets that we wanted to get at while we're here. With ALAMP doing the work already on Hazel Avenue, we are proposing to use some of their contract rates that we competitively bid already, and just extend those unit prices where applicable for those three streets. So it just makes sense. Them being already there, it's probably be a little bit cheaper than mobbing in somebody else. The disruptions to the residents in just one phase, and just easier all around as far as management's concerned. So we did solicit a proposal from ALAMP in the amount of just under $219,000. We budgeted $250,000 for this year, so we're happy to be under. And because this is not a formally bid project, the attached resolution includes a waiver of competitive bidding, and therefore staff requests that the board adopt the resolution to award the contract for the 2025 street rehab project at a cost not to exceed $218,934. Happy to answer any questions about this or Hazel, for that matter.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Trustee Goldstone?
Yes.
Trustee Greenberg?
Yes.
Trustee Jacoby?
Yes.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Yep.
Trustee Benton?
Yes.
And Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And thank you again, Tyler, for your hard work on Hazel.
Thank you.
I see it's coming along.
Making some good progress.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 2540, resolution approving an agreement with Mad Bomber Fireworks Production of Elgin, Illinois for Family Days Fireworks Show contract.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. Annually, the Village of Deerfield hosts a fireworks show as part of the July 3rd and 4th Family Days festivities. For more than 30 years, the Village has contracted Mad Bomber Fireworks to produce the fireworks display. Staff is confident in Mad Bomber Fireworks' capabilities and quality of their displays. We also have a long-standing relationship between the Village of Deerfield, the Fireworks District, the Fire Protection District, and Mad Bomber Fireworks. Given that, the Village has traditionally not sought proposals from other firework vendors. Funding for the fireworks display is included in the approved 2025 Family Days budget, and staff requests that the Mayor and Board approve the resolution to award the Family Days fireworks contract to Mad Bombers Fireworks in the amount to not exceed $36,500.
I just want to remind the board we did explore drone technology, and it was over $70,000 to do elevated drones with light displays as opposed to fireworks.
Yeah,
so
and it's not as good.
Well, I'll leave that to your assessment. But a lot of Western communities where there's fire risk have explored that.
Yeah.
Others in our area have explored that. I just want you to know that we have explored it, and right now it's twice as expensive to do.
I will tell you, this is
drone display.
This is money well spent. This is the one thing that we hear from residents that they love every
Especially
year.
the last couple of years.
Every year, and this particular company, I love the fact that we get to vote every year to give a contract to the Mad Bomber. They do a great job, and everybody is really very, very pleased with it. And I think it's a great relationship. So,
agreed.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
I would be happy to approve the resolution.
Roll call.
Greenberg?
Yes.
Trustee Jacoby?
Yes.
Trustee Trustee Oppenheim?
Yes.
Trustee Benton?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
And Trustee Goldstone?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Resolution awarding purchase of laptops. I've been waiting for this one all night.
Good evening. I have before you tonight a resolution authorizing the purchase of laptop computers. This resolution does include a waiver of competitive bidding due to the fact that we've already solicited 4 formal quotes, and we feel that that is sufficient for making sure that we obtain the best price on this equipment. This is a notable percentage of our fleet of laptop devices for village staff that have aged to or beyond their expected duty cycle. This is a standard equipment refresh. Cost for this purchase is $62,273.92. Vendor for this is Continental Resources.
Questions for Matt?
Just a quick question. So all of the laptops get replaced at once, or is this like a cycle of a certain amount that get replaced and then the next tier and the next tier?
Great question. We do them in groups, and that has kind of come about naturally just over the course of not all staff using that type of equipment at the same time. We did add a lot of those as a result of COVID. So we do have different groups of staff on different cycles of equipment refresh. This is probably about half of our total. The largest purchase at one time of them that we have made in a significant amount of time.
Yeah, it seems significant.
It's 35 devices in this group.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Jacoby?
Yes.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Yes.
Trustee Benton?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Goldstone?
Yes.
And Trustee Greenberg?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Matt. Item 2542, resolution to award contract for water system improvements to North Shore Boring.
Thank you, Mayor. So the water main that I'm talking about, I was up here about a month ago, and I brought this to the board's attention that we had a water main break, which is, so if you took Hazel Avenue east from Wilmot Road, and then you went north on Illinois Trail, it's right in that area. The creek comes in, there's a map. The creek kind of crosses like this. Cherry Street is north of the creek. Illinois Trail is south of the creek, and then Hazel Avenue is east and west. So essentially, this water main connects Hazel Avenue, goes under the creek, and then connects up to Somerset, the water main on Somerset, essentially. And with that, it provides, it keeps water flowing, and it keeps us from having dead ends in our system, so that people, that our customers have fresh and clean water to drink that comes into their house. So about a little over a month ago, we had the water main break there, and I mentioned that I'd be getting prices to do directional drilling, and essentially installing a new water main between Hazel Avenue, goes under the creek through that horizontal directional drilling method, connects up to Cherry Street. And we've done this before in many cases. In fact, most recently we did this on Hazel Avenue, where we did a directional drilling under the creek on Hazel, connecting up the western ends of Hazel Avenue. We're doing it again at the railroad track. So we're very familiar with this method. Last year we did this method on Meadowbrook Avenue. So we did Meadowbrook from Margate up to the northern end of Meadowbrook. So it's something that we do regularly. But there aren't that many contractors that do this type of work. We did get a price from We Bore It. We got a price from North Shore Boring. North Shore has been doing a lot of work for us recently. They did Meadowbrook last year for us, and we're really confident in their work. So we're just trying to zero in on schedule with them right now. Tyler just got the award of resurfacing for Illinois Trail, and so this will happen before the resurfacing in case we have to punch any holes in the road, which we likely will. The cost to do the directional drilling is $33,640. That's North Shore Boring's cost. I did mention in the memo that there's additional costs, though those are material costs, and so fire hydrants, water main, valves, etc. That'll be purchased from half a dozen, 3-4 different vendors that we purchase material from, and I usually make those purchases if they are under $25,000 through the manager's discretion, which I'll plan to do under this scenario. And there's also in-house labor, which is, it's daytime labor. We're not working on weekends most likely, so there's not a lot of overtime involved in the project. It's just about $15,000 worth of labor. So it's a fair amount of labor that goes into the job. With that, we didn't do a competitive bid with this project. We got proposals from 2 different vendors, so I'm requesting that the board waive competitive bidding and adopt the resolution to award the contract for water system improvements to North Shore Boring in the amount of $33,640. With that, any questions that you may have?
Questions for Bob? Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee, I think we're on Oppenheim.
Sure.
Trustee Benton?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Goldstone?
Yes.
Trustee Greenberg?
Yes.
And Trustee Jacoby?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Do we have to include the waiving of competitive bidding?
It's part of the resolution.
In there.
Items for discussion by mayor and board of trustees. I have a number of things I want to talk about that will happen before our next board meeting. But the first thing that's not on our cheat sheet here is that over the last several weeks, if not months, all of us in this room have had challenging things to address and to deal with. From police, you guys have had a number of difficult situations. Public Works, Hazel, to this board, and when we're considering tough ordinances like the one we did today and the ones that will come up in the future. And we've been able to do so in a way that I think is remarkable because we do it. We just kind of roll up our sleeves and we go to work. And we might disagree, but we're not disagreeable. I know that's trite, but it's true. And we get stuff done and we face our challenges. Everyone in this room has done it. Everyone in this room is part of a team. And I want to compliment everyone for doing the hard things that make this village great. With that, there are a couple of things that are going to happen between now and our next board meeting, or that did happen. On Friday the 16th, Cop on a Rooftop, which was last Friday, it raised nearly $5,000, which is going to be donated to Illinois Special Olympics. The Public Works Open House was a huge success this past Saturday. 500 people came, 300 inflatable hammers, so that's almost one hammer for every two people, which is a little over one hammer for every two people. That's great. 50 compost kits were given out. It was great. Good job, guys. Thanks for doing that. The food truck Wednesday starts this Wednesday, but it doesn't start this Wednesday. It's going to be canceled. We're going to have really bad weather, and some of our food trucks have canceled in advance of that, so it's canceled. We'll get it next time.
So do we add another one?
I don't know. That's TBD, right? That's to be determined if we add that
I'd say
at the back end?
no for now, maybe.
Yeah. People will ask.
And the date, you know, people.
Yeah.
It's going to be a washout. It's the first time in 4 years. So.
Wow.
Wow. That's amazing.
Memorial Day, May 26th at 10 o'clock outside at Jewett Park Community Center. It's a wonderful event, and it's also a very touching event. So please, if you're not doing anything on Saturday, May 26th at 10 o'clock, please come out.
Monday.
It's a Monday.
Sorry, Monday, May 26th, not Saturday. Monday, May 26th at 10 o'clock. Our art festival starts on May 31st, which is Saturday. That's why I was looking at that. And Sunday, June 1st, at Park Avenue from 10 to 5. Last year was our first year in a while that we had it, right?
We've been doing it for a good couple of years.
Okay.
But COVID, yes, we skipped during your
so
remembering COVID.
and I think it was well received and well attended. And that's what I have, Kent.
Nothing to add, Jared.
Trustees.
I have something to add. We have to say congratulations to Mayor Dan. He completed his first half marathon in under 2 hours, fabulously.
I'm very proud.
That's awesome.
I'm very proud to say I finished first in my age group among men who are mayors in the North Shore. Their second term, so I'm very proud of that.
Second term between 60 and 62.
Where'd you run it? Where?
It was downtown. Started on Balbo and the lake, and went south for 6 miles or 6.5 miles and came back.
What day was it? Saturday or Sunday?
It was Sunday.
Oh, bad weather.
No,
Cold.
7
it was
Oh,
5
like
o'clock.
that?
It was sorry. It was at 7 o'clock.
Right.
About 52 degrees.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Good
it was
for
fun,
you.
and
That's
I had a
awesome.
great coach.
There you
Jennifer.
go.
Any?
Did you do it too?
No,
No,
but
I was in Champaign.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, you had a graduation.
Any other comments? Thank you, everyone. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Cool.